So, Jake Brennan back on the Iron Mindset podcast, the very first 4-time guest, I believe.
You winner, chicken dinner.
To be honest, probably no better person to do it with, especially we are now, at time of recording, we are 2 weeks out from Abs Pro 6.
Fuck.
And I will be releasing this on the Friday before you compete on the Saturday, so people will get to hear all your thoughts and opinions and all that. So if we roll the clock back and we talk about like the first time you were here, that would have been very, very early in 2023. I think I was prepping for nationals at the time.
Yeah.
You were giving me a dig out, and you were actually prepping for Clash of Titans 1, the first Clash of Titans around that time. And maybe it was a little bit, maybe the other side.
I think it was early 22 or late 2022.
You're right, it was winter time.
Yeah.
I was prepping for Last Chance.
Yeah.
But in any case, your next meet on the calendar was Clash of Titans 1. The first one we were holding where it was a meet 1 on total.
Yeah.
You were obviously the first guy in Ireland to officially put up 1,000 kilo total at a sanctioned meet. So from there, you came in, unfortunately, you got injured. Was it your groin, your adductor?
No, my shoulder on that one.
The bench.
Yes.
I remember I'd lifted you off.
Yeah.
I remember being like, uh-oh.
No, it wasn't your fault, far from it.
But that kind of but that wrote you off for that meet. Essentially took you out of the competitive element of it. You still showed up and did it. Much kudos to you. You showed up, you took part in the meet. And then I believe then you were prepping for the Abs Pro.
Yes, I was no. So basically, the game was that, Clash, and then Abs Pro was coming up in the summertime, and it just wasn't there for me, that's right. Yeah. And so I just decided I was going to prep then for Clash 2023 or Clash 2024.
Clash 24, yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell. And the one just gone, and everything was, I sort of stripped the weight down, and I was running into it, and 4 months out, I tore my adductor.
That's what it was.
Yeah, just doing a little fucking deadlift, and that took me out of the game for a while. But it's part of it. It is part of the game.
Well, so this is kind of one of the main talking points I wanted to have a chat about today, because anyone that's listened to the previous episodes, they know your backstory, they know where you've come from, and they know how long you've been in the game, and you do have some very strong opinions on powerlifting, which you share on Jake's Car Rants on Instagram. What's up, cunts?
What's happening, cunts?
But it's, how do you look at it now? So if we roll the clock back to your first appearance here, your next meet on the calendar would have been Clash of Titans 1. Mm-hmm. Now we're over a year, almost 18 months later, about, 16 months or so later, and you're prepping into Abs Pro 6.
Yeah.
You're a completely different animal now, like in terms of mindset, body composition. I think from even that point we last spoke in your very first visit, that we were just talking about, from that to when you had been Legatron are two different athletes. And now I think you've come into being a completely different athlete again. So what have you discovered about yourself over the past year and a half?
I've gotten old. Look, man, it's one of those things. It's, what have you discovered about yourself? It's such a gay question. But look, I'm looking at it, I'm looking back at myself, and I sort of see the kind of ructions that I caused, not only internally, but also externally, and the kind of pain and hurt that I may have caused people that love me and shit like that. And that was a big thing as to why I wasn't pushing hard with preps, because trying to stay away from drugs, and not just trend, but just drugs. They have a big way on me personally. They might not on everybody else, but me personally, they do have the tax man comes, and so I stuck with just tests and mass this prep, and I found that's been really beneficial. Keeping the dosages not too high, but not too low either, and that's been my main thing. It's, I'm not in that winning in the sense of, because I don't personally feel I have a chance of winning at this competition, which is fine, and I absolutely understand. Now, we all internally hope that we're going to win, because you just wouldn't show up if you didn't. I may or may not kick Dave as he's walking out for a squat, but it's one of those things.
Just do it on camera. If
you know what the score is, and you know what you're about. So I'm going out to do my best. This is Abs Pro. This is my back to the platform after 2 years kind of meet. You know what I mean? And all I'm hoping for is to just put a good meet together and line me up for Clash 2024
25
or 25. Yeah, I knew that. And that's it. Yeah.
No, and like, look, that's, I think, a pretty mature way to look at it because, as you said, you haven't been on a platform now for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable to expect that, look, and I will say, from witnessing particularly your squats over the last while, they've been moving extremely well.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of bigger athletes don't like prepping on the power bar and having to walk the squats out, but for some reason, I don't know what it is, man, it just seems to click so well for you. You just seem to have it down to an art form. So, like, I was asked only recently, do you ever get nervous side spotting Jake's, 400 plus kilo squats? I'm like, no, because there's no way he's missing it. Like, he gets it every single time.
Yeah.
I'm
blessed.
Listen, man, you know what I mean? Like, when you're good, you're good. Like, you have your wheelhouse. You have the thing you are extremely good at. But not to be outdone, deadlifts are coming together quite well. I've really, this was something that, actually, I'm glad you brought it up. I have been an awful soft cock with my deadlifts because my grip has been struggling. Now, it's not the May West at the moment, but it is what it is. I just needed to commit to a bit of aggression with deadlifts. Because I had gone so far the other way and tried to relax and trying to be calm, trying not to get raged up. I was kind of just walking to deadlifts. This is shit. Actually, me and Shauna have talked about this. She has this tendency to treat squats really serious and get to her deadlifts, and she's like, la da 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 da. And I was kind of doing the same, maybe a little more deeply manly way of doing it. And I was kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with me? So I bought a couple of bottles of sniffing salts and started smacking myself a bit. Not physically, but internally. And it really, really helped. Yeah.
Deadlifts are an aggressive lift. And you got to generate aggression for a deadlift to move the way you need it to move. Because if you don't, it's just going to be like, bleh.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think as well, when you look at squats and the readiness to squat kind of takes care of itself because it's the first lift of any competition. So nerves are at their highest. It's also where you can set the pace of the day. It's the one with the most, I would say, squat personally is probably the most technical of the three lifts. I know there's a lot of technique on bench and depending on the way you deadlift there can be, but squats have the most amount of fundamental things that have to go right for it to go well. Like if knees extend too early, if the hips shoot back, if the bar rolls up your shoulders, you're fucked. Right? If you don't brace properly under the bar, if you unrack off center, or if you unrack and you aren't braced properly, if you're breathing up instead of down, there's so many, and that's also when nerves that are highest. So you're kind of locked in for squats anyway.
Yes.
And then bench, a lot of people say it's the boring lie down bit between the good lifts, right? Now, bench, obviously, like we see with athletes like Luke Tolman, can be a fantastic contributor to your total.
And a game changer.
Absolutely. And I think it is one lift that kind of gets neglected. And when you give it enough time, that can be you can put an easy 10, 15 kilo lead if you've got a good bench press. But it's the one with the most commands, right? So it's the one you have to be the most, I suppose, mentally dialed in for. Deadlifts, it's the point furthest from the start of the meet. It's when people are starting to flag a little bit energy-wise. And in many cases, the meets have kind of taken shape. You'll kind of know if, not necessarily who's going to be on the podium, but the likelihood is if somebody's 100 kilos behind, they're probably not going to catch up with it on deadlifts unless there's some freak deadlifter like Dave Richardson. But I think that's the point, though. You need to be able to zone back in. And that's definitely something I've found over the last while. By the time I get to deadlifts, I'll flag. I'm like, right, I need to get brought back into the room. I need to be smacked around a little bit. I need to, whether it's, as you said, smelling salts, whether it's a pre-workout or whatever it might be, just thumping James and Vinny around a little bit, whatever it might be.
Whatever you need.
Gets you back in the room. And I completely agree. And I think that's kind of a point with a lot of powerlifters. You'll always be somebody, like Shauna is like yourself. She's a really good squatter. She can, Christmas qualifier, I'll tell you a little funny story. That was November gone there for the Irish PF. We were in the Radisson Blue. The under 76 flight. So there was 5 or 6 girls in it. They were all quite strong, but Shauna was in first after squats and bench. And then coming into deadlifts, after her opener, she got bumped to second. After her second, she got bumped to third. And after her third attempt, she got bumped to fourth. So she got completely bumped off the podium because she just wasn't in the room for fucking deadlifts. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just, and we've been working on that now, and she's going to be competing in a couple of weeks at the September Open. So we probably will see her put up a bit of a better deadlift.
Well, something I will say about Shauna, and I know she's actually probably one of your more popular people you've had on your cast, I'd imagine, because she's a lovable cunt. As she is, though, you know what I mean? As dopey as she can be. I don't know why her dad left. No, but but God, Jake. No, it's okay, guys. She knows I'm joking.
Yeah.
No, she actually really responds well to, you know, not overdoing, not over telling her. You know what I mean? You just tell her, Shauna, you just need to do that.
Yep.
And she just goes, oh yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that with you. And even if she's sort of come to me and asked for a little bit of, just say one thing. Don't bombard her with information.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows how to work on herself.
Yeah, you don't. It's not. You don't want to paralyze her with paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
And yeah, she is. She's a very. This is why she succeeds in powerlifting and why she's been in the sport as long as she is, and why she continue to be. And I would reckon if Shauna continues on the trend she is, she will become one of the more reputable and better lifters in the country.
Absolutely.
Because she's just willing to show up and accept the process for what it is. You know, not every week has to be personal bests. Some sessions are going to be better than others. Some are going to be worse. But as long as you're doing the sessions and keep showing up every single week, like we've said before, it's not about outlifting your opponents, it's about outlasting them.
Yeah.
So that is actually something I wanted to ask you. Coming into the Clash of Titans 1 in 2023, it was the elbow.
Yeah.
/ forearm.
Shoulder.
/
Yeah. No, so basically,
/
my super
spinatus.
Yeah, that joke was fucked. And I kind of tore it. And then I've always had elbow tendonitis. That's just one of those things of being a squatter. And it just went, and I had no driving power out of my arm whatsoever. And it was devastating. Genuinely devastating, because I'd never experienced an injury beyond, you know, pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can deal with pain. Pain is not something that I really give a fuck about. When you're powerlifting, it's just pain. But that was devastating to me, because I couldn't just force myself to overcome it.
Yeah.
I'd never been through that path.
It was inability.
Yeah. I'd never, don't get me wrong, I can fail a lift on strength. That's not an issue. I don't care about that. Well, I do care. Nobody likes to be weak. But to have the absolute inability to just go, shut the fuck up and go.
Mm-hmm.
That was devastating for me.
So from that, you obviously rebuilt and recomped, and you came in focused then for Clash 2024, and then that was the adductor?
Yeah, man. I know I was fucking... Now, I know I was 12, 13 weeks out when I done it, but my God, man, I was on for it. You know, like...
You were doing really well, yeah.
And then, like, I was popping... I'd only just gone back into wraps. I'd done 2 squats in wraps, only just gone back to 300 since the April. And I was hitting sets of 5 for... you know, like CD gym tempos, and then done a deadlift. It was my second set, and I just popped. And again, one of those things. It was like I could do so much movements, except squat and deadlifts.
So between those 2 events, and then in the aftermath, was there ever a point where you were like,
"I'm quitting"?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, loads, man. Even today. Yeah, like today, man. Like I feel like quitting all the time. I hate powerlifting.
Nobody hates powerlifting like powerlifters.
No, man. Nobody hates powerlifters, and nobody hates other powerlifters as much as other powerlifters.
Yeah.
No, I've struggled with some pain, man, and I've struggled with some knocks and you know, pushing myself to be a certain strength level and to keep going and to keep manifesting this sort of, I know I can get up and I know I can do it, because I loved the whole hypertrophy phase of training, hypertrophy, whatever way you want to say it. I loved it. Getting into the gym, going up to fucking Westside 2.0 and just smashing it. 90 minutes, 4 times a week, absolutely breaking your bollocks and not being in pain. Feeling pumped up and getting out of there and like, oh yeah, I've done a great session. And seeing the results instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Powerlifting is like, oh yeah, you've done a year. Your total's gone down. Are you
yeah.
Like, it's a killer.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing about powerlifting. You could, everything, you could tick all the boxes, everything could be going right, and you just have one bad day and it makes it look like you've made no progress.
Makes it look like you've gone backwards, never mind. And it's a kick in the ghoulies, you know? So yes, I definitely have had some struggles, but Jay sort of said it to me. And, you know, even with the little things that have been going wrong with me, you know, getting old, getting old. But even those little things that have been going wrong with me, this prep hasn't actually been that bad. Like we've had 10 weeks of in the wraps. Normally we have 15. And I mean, I'm back up squat 405 on Sunday. To be honest, other than, you know, just the nerves going, oh my God, back to this number. And the body is saying, oh my God, we're back to this number. It was piss.
Yeah, it was piss.
It was piss.
Yeah.
You know, genuinely. And doing me daddy two-step, you know, like everybody thinks I don't clear the racks when I'm stepping back far, when I barely take the step back.
I watch, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I see people trying to take that bar for a big long walk.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. It's just a waste of energy.
Yeah.
And it's something that it's why I think why I'm so good on the power bar, because I don't take it for a wonder. You know, you only just have to go outside the door.
Yeah, I think watch it, because when you went for the top set, I was out around the other side with Megan Fitzpatrick, I think, or James McLaughlin, one or the other. I don't know how I could be mixing those two people up, but anyway,
they look the same.
They were like, "Does he step back far enough?" I'm like, "It's Jake. Like this is his thing.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is a science." Like I remember we talked before, and you were like, even down to what hand you put on the bar first.
Left.
Yeah, it's always the same thing. The salts are on one side, the chalks on the other.
Yeah.
You do them in the same order every time. I remember once you were it was within the last 2 or 3 weeks, you went to hand off the block of chalk, I think, to Luca or someone, and they were like turned around for a second, and you just swung it into Colin Lynch's hand or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, the setup is different. It didn't matter.
No,
but it's still funny. Like
it's and the boys. I have to say, the boys have been this prep, and I went around and I thanked all the lads as always. Actually, no, not as always, but I'm trying to make it more that I'm more grateful to my training partners.
Well, do you know, actually, I will say something, is because like we will oftentimes talk in between ourselves. Some of the best preps we had were Ab Series 6 and 7, the toxic rack down in the middle mono, all the lads running fucking train, and there was me and I think Jack Peters and like Hinge Master, AJ.
Oh yeah.
And Brick was in, and it was good. So you had like a nice, like you had the lads that were squatting in like 250 to 280 and the lads squatting like 300 plus.
Yeah.
You know, but it was still a good crew.
Of course.
Hercules, of course, Ben, Eamon, yourself. And then a couple of weeks ago, I jumped back on that rack with you boys for two weeks. And then I got moved back to the other lad. But that was actually, even for me, a massive turning point mentally, and how, because I won't lie, I was fucking hating every Sunday session. My knees were so fucking sore. My squats felt like absolute dog shit. And I remember the first week, now I had more fun because I was on with you lads. And I don't mean this in any disrespect to a lot of the other lads, but a lot of the other lads on some of the other racks are significantly younger than you and me. And I don't know what the fuck they're talking about half the time.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah. Like it's a different social crew. Their pace of training is different. I like a nice, fast, aggressive pace where we're just getting the fucking job done.
Yeah.
And there's a good amount of tension in the air. I like squatting like that.
Yeah.
And it didn't exist on the other rack. So being back in that environment, I think, really helped. But then I remember, like, you know, Jay was trying to talk to me. You were talking to me. Aim was talking. There's a few people trying to tell me different things to try for my fucking knees. And it actually pissed me off in the moment, because can everyone just fucking leave me alone and let me squat? But then I you know, I took the tampon out and I actually tried a couple of the things. So I was like, I actually feel better.
Yeah. But man, listen, it is frustrating when you have people go bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
But again, it's guys with experience who've gone through this, that, and the other. And you're now part of their crew. You're in their circle. Not that you're not in the circle when you're over there. It's just that you're not in the vision. And they just want to help.
They're problem solvers.
Yeah.
And I honestly, and I say this to everyone, because like this is obviously a trend you'll get sometimes to training, like, right, where somebody else will try to get, like as a coach, somebody else might try to give one of my lifters a piece of advice. And they'll be like, oh, like, I'm not going to listen to that because you're my coach. And I go, well, look, firstly, like, thanks for the respect and all that. But I will say, let's take that piece of advice and let's see what that looks like because obviously the person giving the advice might not necessarily know everything about your program, why we're doing a certain thing, why you might be experiencing what you're experiencing. But let's take it for what it is and think that the person thought enough to even try and help. You know what I mean? It's just it's a throwaway piece of, look, this could help. Say it to whoever, maybe give it a try before you squat next time. And when you put it through that lens, you actually see that like most people are genuinely just trying to help. But I think there's an element of, some people don't like the presumption that you know what the problem is if they've been dealing with it for a long time. You know what I mean? It's like if somebody says, well, actually, Jake, you're super spinatus. That's all in your head. That's not real. You know, and we scanned it and there's no problems. You're like, well, I'm fucking dealing with it. You know what I mean? So I think there was an element to that for me, definitely. But that was a massive turning point because I tried. Jay was saying try wall sits. I tried it, and then you were saying for the Spanish squats, I tried it. So I actually think it was just loading an isometric hold, and then Eamon was saying try load more of the load into your hips and your glutes. So I've tried all those three things, and they still hurt, but significantly less. Like to the point where I actually think my squats might not stink up the place at Westerns, which would be pretty good.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, so I thank you. But I will. So just in that regard, it's one of the things I think we have at Abs that is, we say it all the time, but I don't think it can be said enough. Having a good group of lads around you, and it's obviously evolved over time, and some faces have come in and some faces have left. But like, it's so good to have a good crew around you just to back you up or prop you up a little bit on the days you're feeling a bit shit, or just to know you're in good hands that if you miss the 405,
yeah. Well, I mean,
you're going to be fine.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's, look, Jay pulled up a photo the other week of the Abs crew. You weren't there.
Which one?
You know the really good crew, the really good picture that you weren't in?
No.
Yeah, that's because you weren't there.
Which picture though?
Remember the
the big group picture?
Yeah.
I'm in that picture.
Are you?
Yes.
I couldn't see you.
Right, go on with your story. I'll pull it out here.
No, listen, I know you were there. I'm just taking the piss. So basically, and I reshared the photo, and I was like, strongest gym across the world without a doubt, in my mind. And physically, it may not be the strongest gym in the. I mean, I know there's only one guy who's totaled 1,000 kilos. He's fucking amazing, most handsome man in Ireland. And
wait, isn't Luke Tolman a part of the club now?
Listen, he's an English cunt.
Isn't his name up on the board?
He's
though?
half Mexican. Little border jumper.
He does look like Taz from WWF.
Man, when he went to Miami when he went to Clash, he literally got stopped and spoken to in Spanish.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They asked him what they do as garden.
That's when he was in Disney and all.
Oh, yeah.
He was having a great time though, in fairness to him. He knows how to live. Like,
He knows how to cook grass. No. Oh, God, man, I'm going to get done. I know Luke's good skin, and I actually really like him. I really do like him. No matter how much I slag him. But, you know, it's not just about the strength of the athletes in your club. It's the strength of the club together, you know what I mean? And I genuinely feel like Abs has this reach across Ireland, now across the world in many regards or respects. And it's Jay's mantra of together, push together, always, you know what I mean? It works. And you see it because that's why the club is as strong as it is. And I know there's always going to be a little bit of bickering and that, you know. But I think Jay lets that happen a little bit too, because there has to be a little bit of hierarchy and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Too.
I think whenever you get a lot of people in one place doing the same thing, you're always going to have that though.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say, I really don't think there's that much drama in Abs at all.
No, there's not that much drama, but it's nowhere. It's calmed right down, man, because I'm not on track. You know, it has calmed down, but like, I mean, you've been there when it's been fucking a screaming match in that place.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It's funny looking back. I mean, I've had screaming matches with at least 3 or 4 people in that place. You know, it's always their fault. Never mind.
But like I said, it's the nature of just having so many people in one place, regardless if it was powerlifting, even if it wasn't like any kind of a sport, if it was a workplace, if it was a school, anywhere at all. If you're going to have a significant number of people in one place, all doing one thing, you're going to find people that butt heads. I even find it within like my coaching. Like, so if I'm coaching about 45 powerlifters thereabout. Like in that cohort, there's some of them that don't get along.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they fucking straight up hate each other. They're going to fucking fight with each other, but they're not each other's favorite people.
And that's okay.
Of course. And that's like, listen, I had Scott Dean on here a while back and he was saying, it was like, oh yeah, there was people that before I met you were telling me like Ian's a cunt.
They were right.
I said that to them as well. Shake their hands because they did not lie.
Yeah.
But it's funny like how different people will perceive you. You know what I mean? It's just the nature of it. You're going to find personalities that clash.
Well, what was it you said to me before? You said, you've had people come up to you and sort of say, I didn't think Jake was like that. I was always told he was like this, that, and the other. And you said, what is it you say? So many people create their opinions on the words of others.
Yeah.
And it's something that so many people do. They never actually give anybody a chance to make themselves out to be a cunt, actually, instead of, you know, they've got them they die cast, before they've even met the person.
Mm-hmm. That's true, but I think that's the same for anyone. Like, I think everyone has, like, for example, anything that's ever been said about you that's negative, there's probably an element of truth to it.
A little bit more than that.
Well, probably like a cement block of truth to it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that is literally, like, Jake Brennan doesn't wake up every morning going, how am I going to be a cunt today? You know what I mean? Well, but the point is that, like, I think it's easier for people to break you down to your simplest components and put you in a box and say, that's who you are and that's what I think of you. And then you get talking to people like, damn, he's actually fucking all right. You know what I mean?
Like my whole thing is I bust balls in the gym, right? And I have no problem pissing people off in the gym. I really don't. Not because I find it's good to become the hated cunt. And I know that sounds funny, but it gives everybody, oh fuck, here he comes, better follow the rules. Or, and it's okay for them to hate on me because it doesn't actually faze me. And it's good to have fucking wanker. I can't fail now because he's gonna fucking rip me apart. Or I better choose a better number. I don't mind. I have no problem screaming at a cunt that he's shit after he fails a bench press, you know what I mean? Or whatever. It, to me, means that they're going to be smarter with their number picking. If that's what it causes, then, I better stop doing that, or I better drop this, or then it's only a benefit to them.
Do you know, with that then, have you ever had the moment where, like, somebody who didn't like you for all those things had that moment of realization, like, you know what, you shouting at me and all that actually made me a better lifter?
Yeah, lots of times, man. The amount of young fellas that come up to me and go, "Jeez, Jake, actually, you really helped me out with that prep," or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm never out to hurt people. Well, I mean, unless they ask.
Dave Richardson walking out for his squats.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting it. 100% he's getting it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're just going to throw a brick at the back of his head.
Get him on his last warm and kick the bar.
Yeah. Oh, fucking right, man. Break his fingers. He's still probably hold on better than me.
Man, like, he's not letting go of anything.
No. Yeah. Including our throat.
But so you've had that experience where people have, like, they've come full circle and said, you know what, you were a big bollocks, but actually that made me train smarter.
Yeah.
That's good to, like, I think it's good when people have that, because I think a lot of the time it can be so, what's the word? It can be so, like, easy to react to how the person's making you feel right then and there that you're not really seeing what they're trying to get at.
Yeah.
So it's like that thing, like, if somebody's encouraging you in training to not fucking fail your lifts or push to the point of failure just because it's a weight you wanted to rep or wanted to load, that is, you are the one being immature for your long-term progress. Yeah. And frankly, I think that's a big thing with why maybe some people are reluctant to sign up to clubs like ABS sometimes, is because they realize that it's not just on them now. It's not just a reflection of themselves. Now you're representing a club and you'll be called out if you're shit in the bed. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I bring this up every now and again. I remember ABS Series 6, I missed my second squat because I tipped over. Yeah. And you and Jay ran back and gave out, you're like, lift your fucking head up, stop looking at the floor. And then I did it for the third attempt and it flew. Like, it flew really easily. Like, I was like, fuck, well, that could have been 290, 295. Like,
all day long, man. And you're a 300 plus squatter. You just have to stop looking at the fucking floor.
Yeah, I've sorted out. Like I said, I've signed up for abs in February. So the plan is to jump back into abs and deadlift bar and not worry about making any kind of a weight class and just have a bit of fun, because I haven't done one in like over 2 years. Yeah. So I'm hoping to push towards breaking the 800 kilo total mark at that.
Oh man, and I think if you do that at 99 kilos, you know what I mean, 8 times body weight total, it'd be fucking...
That'd be sweet, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you've got the capabilities of doing it.
Yeah, and you know what? I can trend back through time and I can see, like, because obviously I pivoted away from deadlift bar and reps to lift in the IPF, the RSPF. Yeah. And that's been a very worthwhile experience. Like, as much as, like, in the past, and this is one thing I've said, like, I will say, people think, like, if you lay a criticism at the feet of something, you're saying you don't like it. I fucking lift in the RSPF. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've given money to the RSPF. I volunteer in the RSPF. Of course I want tested powerlifting to do well in Ireland. Same way I supported USAPL Ireland when it was announced. In the same way I support the series. Yeah. And Jay and I have had conversations about the future of the series and what we'd like to see next. And that's how a lot of the changes have happened. Like the walkway through the crowd for the third deadlift. That was after, and that's one thing I'll always say about Jay Farrant. He listens to feedback and what people want. He'll try it. You know what I mean? And so in any way, and I'll say that as well for the RSPF. I've seen them like since Jay exited, and everyone was like, "What's going to happen now?" They have absolutely tried their best to
level up a bit.
Yeah, and like, you know, whether that's off the back of Jay leaving and then needing to prove something, or whether that's off the back of USAPL Ireland starting up, it doesn't matter. No. For the lifters, for the coaches, for the people involved, it's a higher quality product. And
Positive changes are always positive changes.
what's the common phrase? High tide raises all ships.
Yeah. I mean, and like, look, I know I've busted the IPF a few times, getting rid of the cup and shit like that. Pussies.
Could just vote it back in next year.
Yeah, just vote it back in. And in fairness, it was said to me by a few people, well, nobody voted. Well, if you don't vote, you lose it.
It was the same weekend as the AB series.
Coincidental, I don't know.
But that's like, because I'd normally be on the AGMs.
Yeah.
But I was handling, so.
Yeah. But look, it's of no consequence now. We can't change yesterday. But I do think things like that, like, I mean, this year, they did. The other clubs had a real chance of beating Nabs, but it doesn't matter now.
But I will just say on that, like with anything, nothing is ever in a fixed state.
No.
You know what I mean? Even the AB series, the initial idea for the AB series was like a Premier League season.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Where you score points towards the end. Then it became the divisions. You know what I mean? And even the divisions have evolved. The qualifying dots have changed. We're introducing a Masters division next year.
Are we?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, see, this is the stuff I don't hear because I don't talk to Jay.
So, but this is the point. It's like nothing is ever fixed. So like that, the people that, and look, I was disappointed to see the club championships get voted out. And I would agree in the sentiment that it should probably be more formalized. There should be a way to be officially scored, and that there's approximately an equal number of participants per club, or at least on a pro rata basis or percentage basis. Like at all the international meets, there's a best team.
Yeah.
So you can just do the same principle. Or one thing I'd like to see is maybe do a best team meet. You know what I mean? Like do
that would be cool, man.
There you go. And you could literally make it that whatever, it could be a collation of the totals or the dot scores. You could have like a representative, let's say 2 or 3 lifters per weight class, whatever it might be. It can be done. You can just put the invite out to anyone that wants to, even if people want to get together and say we're represent like Hercules Club, or Integrity Fitness down the road, or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Provinces or something like that.
For sure. There's loads of ways you could do it. And like, again, these are all just ideas that if they come together and they make sense, it might add another level of appeal to people to want to come and watch. Or in the same way now, there's just been a big push for like, there's a bench nationals, there's bench Euros. So we recognize there's some bench only specialists. We're facilitating for that. Like these things can come in and come out depending on the demands of the current, whether it's the current committee, the current lifter base, the current times of interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I do think it's powerlifting is getting better, and I will say it's the likes of yourself and Jay and stuff like that who push for changes. Not to happen at fucking prehistoric speed. You know what I mean? I mean, I see fuckers moving at glacier speed when it comes to the top end IPF, but things need to be changing fast. All right, okay, we can make a change. Boom, 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 and because that's the way the world has gone in many ways. Do
you know what I would say is if you want to put a timeline on it, it has to happen within, I would say, an 18-month cycle. 2 years to 18 months to 2 years. And the reason is because we've talked about before, pop culture powerlifters.
Yes.
Just people that get in.
And get out.
Yeah. So if maybe part of the reason they're getting out is because they aren't finding a place for themselves in powerlifting. So if we create more opportunities for those, and look, frankly, you could say, well, look, maybe you weren't fucking good enough to lift at nationals. Fair enough, but maybe you could lift at like a province championship,
yes,
whatever it might be. So I think if things are happening within a 2-year period, and that is actually the committee life cycle in the RHPF, incidentally. So you can see these things happening. But that's actually a good question though for you. In the time you've been away from being an active competitor, one of the roles you've served a lot in is platform manager at the big meets, the pro flights, the pro-am flights. What have you witnessed from what we would call the best seat in the house, the standard of lifting? How has it changed from the last time you were on the platform to now being out there and being on the platform with those boys? Have you seen that standard steadily rise?
Well, yes. I mean, look, there's always this thing every time the comp rocks around. The knees and the elbows seems to be the soft knees and soft elbows to get the start command always seems to cause issues with so many lifters, especially lifters who don't speak English very well. But the standard of lifting, I mean, you can't say it's not gotten better. Just look at it. The young lads are coming through. They're getting stronger day and night. I mean, you see these fucking lunatics, these kids, 21 years of age. Oh yeah, pulling 323. I mean, Nisha, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, tank.
dude drops 40 kilos and goes ahead and adds 100 kilos to his total. Absurd. Big fucking long orangutan arms on the cunt. He does though. I mean, but he pulls so smooth and just so aggressive with the pull. It's an excellent combo, and you don't get, even with the way he squats, he pops it, and it's if he can come back from this injury and get his head in the game and not get soft about it, I do think he could be a top lifter. I mean, that dude, could he pull 400? Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. And could he do it natural? Absolutely.
Like we said, it's a lot of the time it's just about people staying in it long enough for it to happen, you know, because like that, like we talked about, you could have a great prep and your comp doesn't go well. It looks like you've regressed. You can get injured, whether it's supraspinatus, whether it's the adductor, whether it's the fucking knee. Yeah. These things are going to be stumbling blocks, but the longer you're in the sport, the more time you're potentiating you putting up the total you want, the numbers you want. And the thing is that you'll find that always changes. I remember back in the day when I was like, if I could bench 150, man, that would be fucking sweet. 150, such a sweet number. You know, and now like if I can't rep that for a set of 4 or 5, I'm like, I'm fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and I mean, in real terms, you go that 105 mark, potentially, you know, the 200 kilo bench is there.
Did you see actually a couple of months ago, this is just, it pops into my head, Hercules was putting up a series of posts about the standard of the bench press after the Irish PF released their standards for bench nationals and bench Euros, I think. And they were like trying to figure out why is it that across Ireland, there just doesn't seem to be any like monster benchers. Like even in the weight, like so I think the qualifying bench for my weight class was like 202.5. No one in Ireland under 93 that's natural has done that.
Yeah, I've seen it. And
maybe Barry Piggott.
Yeah, but I mean,
Barry's a legend. Yeah,
let's just leave Barry out. He's getting married this month.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah, and I didn't get an invite. Barry, yes. No, I think what it is, and I actually spoke to Jer about it. We just don't have the gyms. Like, I mean, gym culture has only come around in Ireland.
Agree.
In the last decade, like in a major way, where the broccoli heads are in the gym, and you know what I mean. And then I watch all these young lads trying to bench in the gym, and you know they're all around with their bros. I know you understand that you're with your bros, so you just plop and drop, and you just do 60 kilos. You just do as many reps as you can with your max reps, and you bench every day. But like, I mean, you look at America, you look at Texas. I mean, that power coming from that front, from those guys up in the front of the defensive team for American football, they all have this drive. Boom, they're all big piston arms, so they have that from the bench pressing, and that's where it comes from.
I think as well when you talk about the States, like a lot of the like secondary schools have good gyms, the colleges have world class gyms,
world class,
like. And I would agree. I think there's a big element of that. Like culturally, we have it. Like Ireland has historically been a field sport country,
yes,
which I've talked about on the podcast before. I think that's why we do well in powerlifting teams versus say like the UK and mainland Europe, where it's like it's very much more individual. I think that's why we've got such an entrenched culture of like, you know, GA, the rugby, where even just like regular football, like people like training in clubs with teams. But I think that means that like the likes of that, like the quality of or your execution on a bench press is a lot less important. It probably doesn't play as big of a role in a lot of the sports that we play, maybe rugby. But like I would reckon if we got like Bundy Aki or something in doing a powerlifting prep, he'd probably press a significant amount of weight.
Bundy's some power, isn't he?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like if you got those, I think that's an element of it. But I also think it's like that. There just hasn't existed the cohort of people training for long enough at a big enough sample size to see these monster bench press. I would say the person with the best bench press in Ireland is probably working on a deli counter or something that's never been in a gym in his life.
And that's the truth. Like, I mean, the joke, I don't know, like the joke about my family was, or my father and all my uncles was, they all learned how to walk on their arms before they learned how to use their feet. Because they were all farmers, all pig farmers. And like, even up until, even my uncle, who would train with me regularly enough, nearly 70 years of age, came to the gym, he was pressing 65, 70. He's now benching 105 for a double.
Wow.
Right?
Outrageous, yeah.
Yeah. And his arms are as thick as mine still. Like but you know, he played rugby up until he was in his 50s with young fellas in their 30s. And he's just, now he's only a fucking knee high to a grasshopper, but he's a little tank, you know. And my biggest thing was with him was trying to hold the fucker back, because I was like, you're old now. You keep thinking he's 20. Why am I getting stronger like when I was 20? But no, he's great skin. I love training with him.
Put him on a cycle.
Yeah, I would if I could. But no, I see it and I go, those farmers who spend all their lives building these thick forearms, big thick shoulders, if you gave them a year, genuinely a year, where you fucking taught them how to use a barbell, you'd find one of them that would put 250 up without a blink. No problem. You'd find more than one in Ireland, I think.
It's one of the things I like about powerlifting, though, is that, like, you'll see, don't get me wrong, you see like the naturals, the lads that transition from the likes of rugby who do really well. Like, and it's like an ongoing theme on this podcast that almost every guest I've had on played rugby before they did powerlifting.
Yeah.
And they all tend to be above average powerlifters or excellent powerlifters. But like, it's also a bit of an everyman sport. You'll see the lads come in that, like, there's a good group of lads that I coach who've never done any sports before. They've 2 left feet, like, you know. But powerlifting is their first thing.
And they get so ingrained in it, don't they?
But it's cool.
I love it. But that's what you've created as well with your crew, is that team as well. You kind of, I know Jay has, you kind of not piggybacked it on it, I suppose, but you embraced it. And you create a team with your crew as well. And it shows. You know, I mean, Jacob's still shit, but it shows with everybody else.
He did bench 140 at USAPL.
Yeah, that's good, man.
That's not bad for a kid that was failing 92.5 like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, but didn't Aaron beat him after like a week and a half?
Aaron O'D.
Yeah.
Man, if I can get that lad up to like 105, I'd love him to actually go up to under 120 over time.
Man.
I'd say he'll be like 800 plus total before he leaves the juniors.
That kid is, like, he doesn't even know that he could be potentially special. Like,
well, I mean, he's special, but like,
yeah, no, he's special needs, that's for sure.
No, he is, though. He's class, and he actually is such like so. I took over coaching him after junior nationals, and the biggest thing we were actually working on wasn't necessarily just making him stronger. It was his approach to game day.
Yeah.
Because what tends to happen for Aaron, or was happening, was that if he missed his last squat, he checked out at the meet.
Yeah.
So we knew goal-wise it was conservative enough efforts on squats. Let's get in a nice tidy PB. Same with bench. 3 for 3, put up your 150 bench, which he did. And then we had a deal on deadlifts. I knew what I want. I had him practice basically in the last couple of weeks, opener to second, because I like a big jump there. Yeah. And then he can have whatever he wants for
thirds for him.
Yeah, thirds for him. And he wanted 5 reds. Now, he didn't get it, but he
Worth
almost got it.
Worth the swing.
He went 235, 262, and then he went 275.
And was 262 was definitely comfortable enough.
Easy. So I think he actually could have comfortably pulled 270.
I think he just put it in his head as well. That
yeah. It looks different when there's that many reds on it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden this number that you've been hunting, holy fuck, it's in front of you. It changes. It can mess with you the first few times.
So I'm confident for that kid. Like, if he sticks in it long enough, and particularly over the next year, I think you're definitely going to see him squat like 255, 260. He's probably going to press close enough to 160 plus, depending on how much mass he builds between now and then. And he's definitely in contention to be somebody pulling 280 to 300 in time.
That's excellent to hear, man.
And considering he's only 20, you know what I mean? Like, he's got so many more years as a junior to put on.
He's such a gentle soul as well. He's a lovely kid.
He is, actually. And do you know what? Like, he's a good student of powerlifting. He's interested in learning and being better.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's still like, he's that generation that talks about like skibbity toilet and all that. Like, I don't know what that is.
What's skibbity toilet?
Oh man, I don't fucking know. They were teaching me what a gat is as well, which apparently
is that not a gun?
No, gat. That's a gat.
Yeah.
So do you know so booty was like slang for ass. For these kids, it's gat.
That sounds cat.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, a gat.
Gat. GYATT.
Anyways.
So one of the benefits of training like this wide age group is that I get to learn all the generation. Oh, just for real on God. And dead ass is seriously.
Well, I knew what dead ass was, but for real, man, isn't for real, like, are you for real? For real? Isn't that from when we were kids?
FR. For real. On God.
Oh, jeez.
That means I swear. So just so you know. But yeah, you're dead right in saying that. Like, he's definitely, he's ticking all the right boxes to be somebody that could do extremely well. But again, like we said many times, it's about how long to stay in it. So tying that back then, you're not quitting.
No. After all our rambles, I'm not quitting today. I have been struggling. Because I tore my adductor, I had to relearn how to squat. I've had to squat a little bit lower bar, and more hip dominant, kind of like the way Eamon told you to squat, and it worked. So unfortunately, that's kind of putting a lot more strain through the left shoulder and crushing the nerve. So it's causing some drama. But look, fuck it. You know, I show up, I'm gonna give it the best I got. You know, if the day comes together and I match my total, I'm happy. If I can come together and I can go over 960, I'm not gonna cry about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really not gonna cry about it. I want more. Fucking hell, I want more. Like,
we all do, yeah.
I know I'm capable. I know I'm capable of a 1,000-pound squat with the right prep. I know I'm capable of putting a 550 or 250 bench up and more deadlift and whatever. But this prep, this meet may not be it. Actually, I know it's not. But I give it the best I got. You know, this last year with my ma going through cancer, stuff like that, hasn't been the best. But I mean, she's a tough old fucker, and she's come out the tail end of that, and like, she's as tough as all boots. So, like, you know what, man? And I kind of took a bit of inspiration from her in many ways. She's like, even the days when she couldn't get out of bed, she forced herself to get out of bed and go cut the grass. Yeah, she wasn't doing, like, she waved a ride on lawnmower, so it's grand. She's a lazy bitch.
She still got up and did it though.
But she still got up and
somebody
done it.
else could have done it for her.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah,
but she still got up and done it.
Yeah.
And things like that. She's an incredible person. She is an incredible person. She was meant to come and start training with me. She'd done a few sessions and she kept finding ways to escape.
But still, I think what you're pointing out there, I think, is a really important lesson. And it's something I definitely think helps with powerlifting. When powerlifting is this all-consuming thing to you, you can overanalyze and overthink almost every element of it. But like that, when real life comes and kicks you in the teeth, training, you're just ticking a box, you're just showing up, you're just doing the work. It kind of takes a lot of the, not seriousness, but it takes a lot of the consequence out of, like, you know, so you squatted 405 on Sunday, but like, you know, your ma's doing a bit better. So,
yeah,
you know, life's okay.
Life's good. I got a few ducks.
Yeah, happy days.
You know what I mean? Fucking hell, life's good, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that, no, my ma, you want to see how angry my ma got?
With the ducks?
Oh, she fucking hates ducks. She was grand with the chickens. She hates me ducks.
Ducks can be kind of stinky out here.
Yeah, they can be, but luckily I have an acre of a fucking garden to let them wander around. I know the ducks are, what's the word? They're feral. So, and they go wild. And so, like, you go near them, they start screaming. Yeah. And, but it's all good. Yeah. It's a bit of crack, man. You know, but no, it's funny. It's the levity was seeing her and relaxing. I sort of just went, it's just powerlifting, dude. You know, it's just powerlifting. You could have lost your ma, could have lost your dad. Like, in the last 2 years, since 2021, between my nephew dying in childbirth, my dad fucking nearly dying and having to get emergency surgery, my ma fucking going through cancer, all that jazz. I mean, I'm lucky that I have them still, and yeah, it's fucking, like, it's only powerlifting. Yeah. You know, it's only powerlifting. I mean, it could be like Sean and not have it that.
Drink your fucking water. But look, I think that's good that it makes it fun again. It can just be that thing you go off and do. Yeah. Because, you know, like we talked about before, way back, you know, you started your career as a coach, you're flying along with that, things are going well. You're Jake's car rants are fucking one of the most popular things in Irish powerlifting Instagram. And now you're coming into, like, your return meet, and it's a pro meet. It's Abs Pro, which is, like, obviously the best. It is. It's the biggest one, and I don't think many people can debate that. I think it's a kind of like, I know there's other big meets out there, like Big Dogs. I know there's like even you could start to argue that Clash has come on quicker because it's such an easy meet to understand. Yes. Biggest total wins, but I think the Pro is it's the quintessential, like, you are being tested unlike any other meet. You have to win on dots. You have to walk out your squats. You have to deadlift on a power bar, and the squats are on a power bar as well. Like, this is a tough test for super heavyweight lifters. And the
standard is impeccable.
Yes,
and that's what, like, I mean, we've all watched meets from around the world, and the standards can be
questionable at best.
You know. Like, this whole thing, oh, well, his hamstrings look parallel to the ground. Shut up. You are high as fuck. But, like, I mean, with that, that's what makes Abs. And also, just so we're clear, Jay will never admit it, but this is Abs Pro 7. Okay.
I know, yeah, I know.
This is Abs Pro 7. That cunt fucking stole it from me a week before.
Abs Pro. It was meant to be Abs 5, wasn't it? It was meant to be the Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Abs 5? That was August 2001.
August, no.
No, that's, I tell you a lie. August 2020, I think.
Yeah, no, November
2020?
2020.
Yeah.
Was meant to be Abs Pro 3 or 4.
We did. I competed at it. We did it on we walked it out anyway.
Yeah, that was the one I done a grand on.
Yeah.
We walked it out anyway because he changed it a week beforehand.
Yeah. We are, because I remember we were on the EORAC.
Yes.
Because I remember I didn't actually even know if I didn't prep for that meet in wraps. I just prepped in sleeves because I didn't know if the meet was going to go ahead.
Yeah.
And I didn't cut or water cut or anything for it. And I weighed in like my heaviest ever for a meet. Like,
Yeah.
I had like a roast dinner the night before. Like,
Oh,
was
it was still a
class.
good meet though.
I had fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just having the crack.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, listen.
So that's the one you were robbed.
Yeah, robbed. That and the fact that I dropped the bar back in fucking 2019 still haunts me to this day. Take my strong hand. Yeah, like the guitarist. What, you ever see that Irish guitar?
Yeah. But so then looking then towards Abs Pro 6 that
Yeah.
you're going to compete at, it's happening at the warehouse in the Red Cow where we had USAPL in February. It's your first meet outside of Abs powerlifting
Yeah.
in
Ever. Since I joined Abs
since you joined Abs.
in 2018, I have not competed outside the doors, you know. Not because I'm afraid of competition, because I'm certainly not afraid. Though, just, you know, what's the point in traveling when you don't need to?
How do you feel about it?
Excited. Excited. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not going to be my best meet. I was offered the opportunity to go up and view the space with Jay last week, and I turned it down for the same reason, or for basically so that I could be the same as everybody else and rock up and see it for the first time with everybody else, you know. So we're all on equal footing, so to speak, you know.
I think that's a good way to do it. It's a mature decision, and I think like it speaks to the athlete that you're and the competitor, Jerry. You want everyone to be as equal as you can.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's outside the realm of possibility that you'll be on the podium?
If I click, if everything works and I go and I do like a 10-10 total and I get and a miracle happens, and we know how rare those miracles are, I think it's potential there. But also, it's on Wilkes. We've got Luke Tallman, superstar. And let's call it a spade. He is a superstar. He's a fucking phenomenal lifter. Do you know what I mean? We've got the American Fernando. I mean, somebody said he was the underdog. He's no more the underdog than I live in the moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually have the roster here. I'll tell you. And you know, you can give me some thoughts then. So we have Fernando Arias, who... The thing is, I will say, I think maybe potentially going against Fernando is he just competed at Clash in April. And before that, between I think his previous... Did he do Pro last year? I can't remember.
No, he didn't do Pro, but he won Clash.
He won Clash
the first
one. But then he competed like 3 more times between Clash 1 and Clash 2. Yeah. And now he's competing again.
I think he ran himself into the ground a little bit.
I'll actually even tell you because I can pull up his open powerlifting. And the reason I'm doing this is because Fernando, I actually think, is potentially another one of like the best lifters we've had.
Yeah.
And, you know, particularly when you're factoring in the likes of travel and things like that, I think he's managed to put together some excellent performances. But like if we look at this, he competed April 1st at Clash of Titans 1.
Yep.
Then he competed in July at NPL, whatever the fuck that is. Then he competed at XPC in Poland in September. Then he competed at WRPF in October. Then competed at WRPF again in February 2024. And he competed at Clash in April 2024.
So 6 meets?
Yeah, like a shocking number of meets between his first time with us at Clash in April. Then he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meets between...
And what did his total go from in April 1st to April 20th? What were the meets?
So his first appearance at Clash, he put up a 1,035 total, and then he managed to put up a 1,062.5 total at the most recent one. But his best total is 1,077.5, so 15 kilos heavier, 600 dots points. And that was at XPC in Poland, I believe. So you can see, though, like look, in one way you can say it's good. He's got a shitload of international competition experience now, which he probably didn't have prior to that, because I think all his meets prior to that were in the US, prior to Clash. But I would hope that he's had enough turnaround time now to come in and have his best possible day. Because like I think you will agree, you would rather everyone show up their strongest.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's not a big deal to lose to somebody else who had their absolute best day than it is to watch somebody like trip at the final hurdle. So what do you reckon about Fernando's chances?
To be honest, if I was Fernando, I'd have done a quarter of those meets. Not even. You know what I mean? Like, but again, he's a young buck, so he does what he does. You know, that's right. Fernando is going to be on the podium. You know what I mean? I just see it see him. I mean, again, if he comes out, although he's been squatting, as far as I can see, he's been squatting on a squat bar and not a power bar. No, I could be wrong on that one. It just looked like a squat bar to me. If that's the case, the power bar will make a difference to him.
Okay.
But other than that, man, like he is a fucking unit of a fella.
We'll go through. I'm just going to tick boxes on some of the other lifters, like, and I don't know. Look, we could see some surprises like we have in the past.
Boris.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Boris Chetkov. E2 Seppi, he's back with us again.
E2 is a good skin.
Delroy McQueen I think this is his last ever meet.
No,
you not reckon?
No, because he's not going to go out. He'll go out in a sword, and this isn't the meet to go out in your sword. I don't think everything went the right way for him, so he's just showing up to put his. Delroy is the quintessential professional. If the meet, he'll go out when he get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he's ready. And this isn't the meet that he's ready to go out on.
So I actually only met Delroy in April because he came over to watch.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, I'd actually love to get him on the podcast if I can.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of stories he must have. But the thing he was saying is, he said it's not saying he would stop competing, but he might stop doing full power.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
definitely. I can see why. I mean, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, he's touching on 50.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's in the game a long time. I think one of his first meets was like in the mid-90s.
Yeah, man. Like, and he's done Olympic lifting. He's done. I mean, you've seen him deadlift.
Yeah,
the dude pulls so aggressively. It's epic.
Still has it in him. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's George Jansen, who I believe won the Pro-Am in Ab Series 15.
Yeah.
Then we have Alexei Melnik. I'm gonna need to learn these when I'm commentating.
Is that the big lunatic lad with the missus that walks around kicking everybody?
I have no idea. Like, I'll be completely honest. So I'm sure people listening know I recently had a child. I've been completely.
You had a child?
I've been completely checked out of a lot of these things. So I'll need to start putting in some research before I jump on commentary. Saba Bajzar, he was with us in November as well. I think he was just coming to participate because he was actually handling his misses in the female Pro-Am.
Oh, yeah.
He had a good enough day, though. Thomas Darry is back. Thomas Darry, Thor Steinson, he is putting together some really nice performances. He just keeps showing up. He did Series 15, he did Clash, and now he's coming back for the Pro. I think we could potentially see him going for 1,000 plus. I don't think he's hit it just yet. I could be wrong, but I'm going to double check that. He's somebody else that I think, given enough time, will be one of the, like, in the same way Dave became one of the mainstays at Abs. I think this could be the guy as well.
Well, I mean, look, you got to sort of say when you know there's 15 players on the pitch, right? Which it is with this meet, or at least that's the game day is usually 15 males, 15 females. You've got your top 3 to 5, and those top 4 and 5, they're there to swoop in when one of the bigger boys fucks up.
Yeah,
and after that, you know, most of the other boys are there. And it's not a disrespectful thing to anybody, because I'm on that page with them. You know, most of us are there, at least I'm there at this meet, to hopefully put up a big PB total. And if I get lucky, rock the boat a bit. That's all.
That'd be good. I think you can definitely put the shits up the lads on squats.
Yeah. Oh, squats are whatever. The squats are just fun. Do you know what I mean? I'd love. Now, I'll take out another heavy walkout next week. I'd love to put a PB squat up.
Yeah.
You know, fuck it. Forget the rest of it.
440.
Yeah. Oh, man. I genuinely believe I can squat 1,000 pounds on the power bar.
I agree. I think if you come in strong on the day, it could potentially be at this one.
Yeah. Not at this one. No.
Don't underestimate yourself. You never know, man.
I do 435. If I could do, I think I could pull off a 435.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fantastic. Yeah. So Thomas Darry put up 970 in April. So again, he's the stone's throw away, but obviously making up those 30 kilos is a big ask.
And then again, making those 30 kilos up on a different environment.
Yes.
Walkouts change the game. Even for Luke, who put up 10-15 I mean, I'd imagine Luke's looking to hit a grand and he'd be comfortable with that. You know, that's what I...
Well, speaking of that, I won't go through the entire roster because we'll be here all day. But yeah, you've got Luke Tolman, who's put up 10-15, I believe.
Yeah.
And then you've got yourself, Jake Brennan, Dave Richardson, Fernando Arias. If we're talking about like podiums, they're probably most of the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Like Dave put on a barn burner in the Clash. I think the smartest thing Dave did is that he ran his own race. He went 9 for 9 and he just built the biggest total off successful attempt selection. And that was a really impressive meet to watch because there were some other more bombastic attempt selections.
Wild.
And then you saw this guy just quietly putting together the biggest total. And that was the most clinical performance I think I've seen at an Ab Series event. Like,
and they have to be.
Yeah.
At this kind of level, they have to be. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. You can be a gunslinger. Dan Bell's a gunslinger, right? And he's a fucking great lifter.
He's class. Yeah.
He's great, man. I love Dan Bell.
Yeah.
But like, he opened up in 410, went 440. All he had to do was redo 440. That's all he had to do, and he'd have won that day without having to take a swing on a massive deadlift. You know, he'd have won it. He didn't though. Or he could have just gone 410, 430. And then see what he needed for that. You know, again, just nudging. Instead, he wanted to come and he wanted to hit a grand, which was great, and I absolutely commend the man for taking a swing. But these things, Dave, you see it, man. He's chopping it down. You know, chopping it. And if it's not 9 for 9 days, 9 for 9 days are always going to win the meet. Almost always. You know, that's the way. Like the only way is if you're up against some fucking freak who's coming out and pulling 500 kilo total or 500 kilo deadlift, you know, that way.
Yeah, so I have two things to say there. One on Dan Bell, phenomenal to watch.
Yeah,
great to watch lift. Very, very nice guy.
Very.
Crowd were definitely delighted to see him. What I think Dan Bell got out of participating in a Clash of Titans was there was always, and this was like the banter beforehand, people were saying Dan Bell will bomb out because he doesn't hit the standard. Dan Bell put up a total.
Dan Bell put up a total.
So
a 1050 total.
And so it shows he can do it.
Of course he can.
You know? Which I think was the best, like one of the best things he could walk away because he was a couple of months ago, he was retired. Like,
yeah, I know, yeah.
He's like, hell yeah, brother. Yeah. You know, he wanted that meet.
And he is number one. Nobody's touched 1082 yet.
Uno, yeah.
You know, and look, or 1182. Like, I mean, Dan, I think if he puts it together coming into April next year and really and truly puts the work in and not just, you know, the last 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I think he could take it. And that would be a sword to go out on.
Well, you know what I like about Dan, and Jay was saying this on the lead up, is that Dan lifts to the standards of the meets he's in. So if they say, look, to this one you only need to squat to parallel, he's only going to squat to parallel. He says this one you need to squat 2 inches below parallel, he'll squat 2 inches below parallel. The other thing I wanted to say is I think coming into this meet, if all goes the way it has seemingly been going for Dave Richardson, I think he has...
The 1100.
Yes. And I think he has a comfortable number one podium position. I think Luke will give him a rock, but I don't know... Like, we haven't seen Luke at the Ab Series in a little while.
No.
And I do think Luke will be on the podium.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's Dave's meet to lose.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I've spoken about Dave's quality of lifting, Dave's quality of person. You know, he's a good skin. It is his meat to lose. Let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. It's his meat to lose. And now 1,100 kilos. I mean, what's he? 1072 at the moment. 1075. It's only 25 kilos. It's only one red plate, right? Everybody forgets that when you're at the absolute epitome of your strength, only 25 kilos is a fucking shit ton. Just add 25 kilos to your top squat. It's not that hard.
The margin for error gets less and less and less the more weight gets on the bar. Like, that's what I've tried to quantify this for people, especially when they're newer to the sport. Like, even if you're somebody who squats 140 and somebody squats 200, the margin for error is less at 200 because unracking it slightly differently is going to change the way the lift feels. 140 is still a respectable enough weight for a newer powerlifter.
Yeah.
But you could probably fuck it up a little bit and still hit it. You know what I mean? Whereas like you can't fuck up 405.
No.
You can't fuck up 415, 425, 435, whatever it might be. And the margin for the fuck up and the potential error gets less and less and less and less and less the more weight goes on the bar.
To the point where there is no margin.
Yeah, everything has to be perfect.
And that's something I actually spoke about it in my interview with Mario, the video that just went up. Dave is a savage lifter, right? And he walks out of squats. His biggest thing, at least in my mind, and it was when I was spotting him at Clash, was he warmed up on a power bar on his own and he walked that out, which was fine. And he came to the Cerberus squat bar, which is a great squat bar. I'd like it 35 mil instead of 32 mil Cerberus, just saying. His walkout is the only thing that I believe lets him down. Because I literally, now you're allowed, so don't nobody beat me up. You're allowed to hold your lifter until they're set in their position. You're allowed to help them walk out. There's not an issue with that as long as you're not lifting the weight for them. But it's his walkout is in my mind his only weakness in his game. That's about it. And now it could be improved since April, but that's a big thing. Walking out of the bar is a big thing because you're gonna piss away a shit ton of energy. You know, especially with his super low bar squat.
The lift starts the moment you put your hands on the bar.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, you and I. We might have even mentioned it on the podcast. It's one of the most. Actually, you shared a video from Beck recently when he says this is one of the most overlooked important parts of the squat, and it's the unrack.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
completely agree. And you will see some more experienced lifters. They'll get under the bar and they'll unrack and feel the weight and be like, no, and they'll re-rack and take it again until they have it in that right spot. And everyone knows when they've hit it because the bar almost feels like air.
Yeah,
you know when everything stacks just right and it feels really good.
Levitates.
Yes. So. Last question I have on this, and then we actually got a good few questions in for you on Instagram. I'll hit you with those, and then we'll wrap this up.
Nothing too naughty now.
There's actually nothing that outrageous, to be honest. I was fairly disappointed. But where do you see yourself going after Abs Pro 6?
Oh, the bed.
Do you think you'd see yourself doing abs in November?
No. I'm set for Clash.
Okay, so it's going to be a good build and prep from August to April next year.
Oh, well, other than Utah. I am going to Rumble. Sorry, I don't know if anybody knows.
You're going to lift?
Yeah, I'm going to lift.
Amazing.
Yeah, 3 weeks later in sleeves.
I didn't know you had a passport.
Yeah, I only got one. Didn't really need it for before. Yeah, so I'm going to scoot out to Rumble and give that an L knock in sleeves.
Amazing.
Yeah, I reckon I could put up a 380, 385 squat in sleeves.
Maybe more. Depends on the sleeves.
Depends on the sleeves.
Stick a pair of those Rick and Morty's on you.
Man, that's a lot of effort. Yeah. I just put me old SPDs on to be mad.
How long have you had those?
Oh, this new pair, 2 years.
Oh, very good. But that's outstanding. But after Utah, after the Reach Rumble, you're going to be building into Clash next year.
Yes.
Amazing. All right. And that's pretty exciting because obviously total only meet, just come in big and strong, not having to worry about the scores or anything like that. That's pretty sick. All right. We're going to get into
And I'm going to learn to hook grip.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have decided I need to learn because I keep letting go of this bar for some reason.
All right, we'll start with the funny ones. So when are the eggs for sale?
When you're willing to pay.
So you can DM Jake on Instagram. Yeah. For those that don't know, Jake has a horde of chickens.
Horde.
And
emphasis on the whore.
They are producing quite a few eggs of the highest Brennan quality.
Yes, Brennan's Rainbow Farms for all inclusive.
All inclusive.
They dems.
So we have from Motion Masters, Mario Morelli, who you just mentioned, who I'll actually probably have Mario on the podcast towards the end of the year. Nice. I think he's going to have some pretty unique perspectives because he's filmed all the meets.
Yeah.
And interviewed all the lifters. So he goes, what have you learned about the limits of the human body being an enhanced athlete?
Most of it comes from your mind. Genuinely. If you're willing to put the work in, most of it comes from your mind. But each body has its own limits. Genuinely, because look, if all it was gear, everybody would be doing what I'm doing. Everybody would be doing what Dave's doing.
Do you know, that's a question. Do you think PEDs are that extra gear everybody thinks they are? Because just to kind of give a point here, I've had Killian O'Connor on here before, dysfunctional patterns, and we talked a little bit about the evidence around PED use in something like powerlifting and strength sports versus bodybuilding. And in bodybuilding, it's night and day. Obviously, the effects of muscle gain with steroids is astronomical. You gain a significant amount more muscle mass because you're anabolic all the time. Your protein synthesis is elevated all the time. Whereas for strength, the strength gains are found to be quite modest. You are still stronger, but you're talking like 10 to 15%. So what do you say to that as somebody with the first-hand experience?
I've found, see, my problem is I never went natty long enough, right? So, and that's the truth. I'm not going to hold my hands up. I wasn't natty long enough to really know what I was capable of. I squat 275, bench 140, and pulled 300, and then decided I had no more natural gains, and that was why I was going to go on the gear. Test prop is what I started on, and I shouldn't have, but it is what it is. It can't change yesterday. Well, look, you've got a few guys like Dave, who was natural his first meet, 940 total in abs, abs pro 2021. His last meet, he told, he's now looking at 1100 kilo total. What's the difference? No, it's training. That's not a knock on Dave.
No, for sure.
You know,
like I still I mean, and I suppose the only other argument you could make is that you would need to technically have two Daves who both trained the same way for the same duration of time. One was enhanced and one wasn't. They both participated at the next same meet and see the difference in total then, assuming all other factors are the same, and we just never know that. But I suppose like that is probably the biggest thing you could say. Whether you're enhanced, I suppose with the question is obviously about as an enhanced athlete, but like whether you're enhanced or not, I do think that one of the biggest limiting factors for people is their mind. Yeah.
That, and also I think a lot of guys overtrain when they're strength athletes on gear. A lot of guys overtrain. Now, it's lots of undertrain, but a lot of guys overtrain. You less is more in some ways. And I know that sounds fucking stupid, but what you can get from doing 2 sets compared to the same natties fucking doing 5 sets, you're now at a fatigue level that's just not really right. You know, that's why if you do the same 5 sets, you know, because you're going heavier, you're going harder, just do 2 sets and you'll gain the same. You know what I mean? And move on, you know. At least that's my perspective of it. Like you can do a little bit less, or you need to do a little bit less actually, so as you can actually recover. You know. And
particularly when you're handling the types of loads you are, like the recovery time is going to be longer, you know. So the next one then is how to handle stress/anxiety and build confidence for the platform.
Oh man, I really want to answer this bad.
Answer it badly.
Cocaine. No, have a wank. Or you know,
so like let's put it this way. Let's say you're coaching a lifter into the meet, their first meet, they're saying like, I'm really anxious, I'm really stressed about this. How am I handling?
I'm just gonna laugh and go, you're shit anyway, so don't worry about
it. Do you know what? I do think people put an awful lot of pressure on themselves, particularly in their first, like, I would say anyone that's like 5 or 6 or less meets, so 6 or less meets, don't worry.
Yes, don't worry. That's why I'm a big believer. Don't fucking build for your first meet for 6 months. Just do a competition straight out the door. And everybody goes, but what if my total isn't this? Nobody gives a shit.
No one cares.
Because at 6 months, you're still going to be shit. It's not until you're a world-class lifter that anybody actually cares about your lifting other than you and your mammy.
That's the thing. Everyone says, Jesus, they are after coming out of nowhere. I'm like, no, they've been fucking training for years. You just didn't care because the numbers weren't respectable enough for you. But now they're getting to a point where you're like, oh shit, I notice it now.
Exactly. So just when it comes to meets, listen, just imagine nobody gives a fuck because they don't, and you're gonna be shit because you are, and that's okay. And I know that sounds really mean, but I that's how I think of myself. I'm shit. So fuck it. All
right, let's keep it rolling. Has Jake had to change/adjust how he lifts with such significant weight loss?
In some ways, yeah, and in some ways, no.
So I suppose one of the big questions would be, and this is quite common, is that people's leverages for the likes of the squat change when they lose a lot of, like, particularly like belly fat. Did you find when you dropped the weight initially, squats felt different?
Bar felt way different on my back, way different. My biggest significant change was going lower bar because the adductor there, that's caused me more issue than anything. But the weight loss itself, I just had to learn how to fill the belt again instead of just being fat into the belt. I know that sound. Look, it's the truth, man. Instead of just going clink, oh yeah, I'm fat. It's easy, right? I had to learn how to just fill it. And which has actually been beneficial in ways with my deadlift, and then even sharing that knowledge then with my lifters. And you know, it's not just pushing out. And I've always known it, and I don't always just push out through my belly, but it was always easy to just go. You know, when I was 160, I just clipped the belt. Ah, yeah, I'm braced. Whereas when I was down at 135, I had to work harder. You know.
So you did notice the leverage change, and you trained into it.
Yeah,
you learned how to do it.
Just took advantage of it because I found myself faster in some ways.
It's a good thing to know, because I think that's one thing you'll see a lot of lifters encounter where they do drop weight and they feel better and they maybe move better, but they're like, why am I not moving the weights the way I did like 6 months ago? It's like, motherfucker, you're skinnier now. There's less in the middle of you to stabilize that weight up on your shoulders. So next question is, how has the ab series helped you showcase your strengths, and what does that mean to you?
That's a really fancy question, isn't it?
So the ab series has obviously been the platform you've chosen to lift on for the majority of your powerlifting career. So you've got to showcase your talents there.
Man,
what does that mean to you?
What's it mean to me? I love being on the platform. I love the crew. I love the family. I love everybody. Even the cunts I don't like, I love them all. It's been being part of this ab series from day one. Being an intrinsic, and in my opinion, an intrinsic part of launching it off the floor with, you know, myself and Jesse's battling and banter, and, you know, myself and Eamon and whatever else the case may be. I genuinely feel blessed that I was in on the ground floor and, you know, forever part of its history.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in the formative years, as you mentioned, those rivalries, I think, drew a lot of eyes to actually view the product, particularly during COVID, when it was harder to get lifters to come here and do the thing. You know, they were definitely very interesting battles to have. But then also now, even in a non-competitive role, it's good to be able to know, right, there's a motherfucker who's back spotting me that squats more than this. I'm going to be all right. And that's how we get those cool moments like use Urtra in the 430 or whatever it was. Yeah.
And Dan Bell's ma coming up to me and saying, "You're the best back spotter I ever seen." I was like, yeah.
Thank you, Dan Bell's ma.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
So basically, if I'm right in saying it goes beyond your ability to be, you know, a lifter on the platform. You know that you've played a part. You're integral to what the series is and what it's become and where it started. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't want to be up on the platform. I don't when I can't lift. I hate it. FOMO, big time. But I love being there to keep everybody safe. In its sort, I know that sounds totally counterintuitive, but it's fuck. Why am I here? But I'm not letting anybody get hurt.
Yeah. Oh man, totally. Like, I mean, obviously, I present the series as the master of ceremonies and I commentate the main events. I love those roles. Yeah. But I'm like, fuckers, don't forget I'm a lifter as well. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I like that I can wear so many hats, but like,
I do lift.
Yeah, I do fucking lift. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I get it. Like, it is because you obviously want to do the best in the role that you're in, but you don't want to be forgotten what brought you to the dance. Yes. Which is that you're an athlete first. All right. So similar to what we've had before, weight loss and training technique. Did anything change since the weight drop? My mindset towards training and like how much volume you can actually accrue. Like when I started with abs, it was all volume. Then I got fatter, and I could get by on less. That's just good. Let's just call a spade. And I could get by on less and still be strong. And I loved, and still do, going into a session and absolutely murderizing myself with some hypertrophy training and fucking pushing myself to the absolute max on my upper. It's a whole different mindset than just going in and hitting a PB. Like, if I hit a PB on, say, 180 incline Smith machine bench, right? It sounds stupid, but it feels class.
Feels fucking epic when your chest feels like it's about to rip out of the bone, rip off the chest bone. And it's like, yes, that's a session.
Well, do you know, just to sidetrack a little bit there, like I spoke to Jay a good bit about Noel Whelan's training. Noel, who has gone on to have some of the best meets of his life in what you would consider his, like, he's probably more time behind him in powerlifting than in front of him, let's just say, right?
Yeah, he's definitely in his golden years, the old cunt.
Since he's retiring after almost every meet now when you talk to him. But the point is, he was saying for Noel now, he's at that point where he doesn't need to do a whole pile to maintain that top level of strength that he has. He's still hitting PBs. But he does a lot of his training in lower fatigue generating movements like that. Like he'll do a lot more bodybuilding stuff to keep well conditioned and well trained. It's only when he's prepping for me he needs to get a bit more specific. And I think there's genuine value in that. And I think it's something a lot of newer powerlifters miss, that you don't need to be hyper specific to squat, bench and deadlift year round. Like once you've gotten past that novice phase and you're quite good at squat, bench, deadlift, you know you can walk into the gym, you don't think, where do I put my feet? Where do I put the bar on my back? You can probably do some other shit in training. You're going to be fine.
Absolutely. And it was super beneficial for me. Like, I mean, I walked away from powerlifting for, as you know, a good long time. But I mean, I've taken my squat back in 15 weeks from not even over 300 to 405. You know, with relative ease. Something that what was his name? I can't think of his name. But basically, what he said was, you know, if you're a skyscraper, think of yourself as a multi-level building. You know, all you're doing is just decommissioning the top floors for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is revamp them when you're going back up. That's all. It's just revamping them. Bit of a cobweb, clean out, and they're good to go.
Yeah, knock off the rust, get back under the bar, re-expose yourself. You'll get there.
And everybody goes, but the first week or two, so what? You're going to be shit. But literally, after that, into that third to fourth week, you'll be back to 90% of where you need to be. You
can't be at that top level all the time anyway, or that is quite literally a recipe for burnout.
Yeah.
You know? So I think, there's definite value in that. So take the advice, do your training that you can work in different rep ranges on different machines, lower stress movements, have a bit of fun, get a bit of a pump.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Having fun. And not you fucking noobs. You need a lot of practice.
Put in the reps.
Yeah. But like, have fun with shit, man. This is something that I see so many powerlifters. This is why they turn into poppies. 2 years and they just hate themselves because they've done squat, bench and deadlift so many times. Chill the fuck out. Get on the camber bar. Go fucking box squat deadlifts and have fun.
Yeah. Totally agree. Next question. It's actually from Danielle Hendley in Phenom Gym, one of the coaches down there.
Oh, Danny the Demon.
Yeah, so she has a quite a good question that you could probably give some advice on. She has tips for wrapping knees for noodle legs. So obviously Danielle is quite lean. She has put on some significant muscle mass, but you know she's have it's going to be a bit different wrapping your knee to wrapping hers. Let's just say. What advice do you have for smaller lifters that want to wrap their knees?
For someone like Danny and other people like Danny who have those chunky legs, go with a 2 meter wrap, right? If you can buy them, go with a 2 meter wrap, and go a little bit higher up the leg,
almost like a sleeve.
Go a little instead of like I only do 4 wraps up and then pack the knee up because that's all I need because the hinge, the way I'm built, I can do that. Go a little bit higher up into the hamstring. It'll support your leg a little bit more. And if you only have access to 2.5 meter wraps, you've even better options then to go a little bit higher. Don't crank the fuck out of your hamstrings because you will hurt them. But yeah, that's my thought process on it. And don't start down low. Start right at the knee bend. A lot of people start down too low and they cut into their calf.
Yeah, and then the calf gets all twingy and all.
Yeah, your calf is super important. You actually kind of need them for balance and stuff like that. And if you cut into the heads of them, you'll lose your feet. Yeah. And your feet might still be attached, but you won't be able to
pins and needles.
Yeah, you won't know where they are.
Do you know, I think it's a good point as well. And this is something I've definitely found is when you've got smaller, lighter lifters and you see some of the coaches that are used to like wrapping 300 plus kilo squatters, motherfucker, this fucking 56 kilo female doesn't need fucking 400 revolutions. It doesn't need to be as tight as possible and as packed in as tightly as possible. Right. They're just going to get a little bit of a rebound out of it. They're usually very knees forward anyway. Yeah. So like, you don't need to crank it on unless you're like hardcore like Megan Fitzpatrick. Yeah. Megan likes a good tight wrap, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
she's on form now to take the fucking Louise Whelan's record.
I've always liked Meg. Meg a cunt. She's a good skin, and you know, I when I'm rapping her, I rap her a certain way, and she communicates quite well. You know, that sort of way. But you know, she's one person, and Laura Vogelstang should be another that cranks it. if you're learning how to use wraps, just go light.
Go light, yeah.
Go light, buy a light wrap. You can buy them on fucking on the interweb, cheap as chips for 25 quid. Practice on yourself. Find out what you need, because it's going to hurt the first few times. You know,
I think people don't know that's like a pair of knee wraps is cheaper than like one SBD knee sleeve.
Yeah, like that's the mad thing. Like you can go buy a pair of shitty cotton knee wraps, cost you fucking 25 quid. Boom. You know, and you can learn.
Yeah,
because that's the main thing. Just learning. You don't need SBDs, and you don't need inserts. You don't need all that shit. Fucking costing you a fortune. You just learn.
2 more questions from the Instagram. We'll jump onto the anonymous, though I don't think there's anything too crazy there. So do you feel stronger at the lower body weight?
Yeah, in many ways. Definitely with my deadlifts. If I can get the bar,
No more cocktail sausage fingers.
Oh, I know. But like, definitely allows me to lengthen my arms out and not be like little fucking, you know, you ever see those spuds with the, that's what I felt like, man, the spuds with the fucking cocktail sticks stuck in them. Fucking bag of silage.
So you felt a bit stronger at some points being leaner.
Yeah.
And then last question on Instagram is actually from Sean Coe, whatever way you pronounce it. Big Sean.
Oh, the cock.
Big Sean Cock in his battle against Article 14. He said, is it recommended to be bald to hit 1K total? Is it
recommended to be as shit as you are to argue about fucking Article 14, you big mooch?
He's a lovely fella.
I know, yeah.
Do you know, we were actually, there was one Sunday, remember he sent you the video he's given off because you didn't come down to train?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was sitting in with us and the deputy mayor texting some mutt on Tinder. He was looking for a hookup while he was in Ireland.
Can you blame him? Also, Irish chicks, gorgeous.
Yeah.
All orange.
Hot to crazy ratio, though. So, in the anonymous questions, nothing outrageous as I mentioned, are you planning on going for the win or 1,000 plus total at Abs Pro?
I would be so happy and to match or PB my total.
Grand. And then, how much has Jake's approach to PEDs changed along with his diet?
Massively. I mean, I have I have about 30 meals of trend there at home, and I haven't taken them. So that says a lot. I'm just using test E and MAST, and I have stayed that way across the board, and I will continue. I'm not going to fuck around with anything else. Maybe I will put it. Oh well, I've taken a few orals, but that's because they're fun.
Well, we did talk about this before. Remember, we were talking about coming into comp. And the common advice is don't change anything, don't fuck around with things,
and we change everything.
Yeah,
everything every time. I haven't done that this time. That's something I actually took really on board that when you said it to me, and also for my own mental health, I don't need any more drugs.
Yeah, well,
because I'm crazy,
and for the benefit of all the junior lifters in the gym, you don't need any.
And one of them's getting an uppercut one these days.
Josiah Kenny.
Just which one's that? Is that the real shit one?
No. I plead the fifth.
I'm only joking. Just I don't even know who you are.
So the next one is Jake cutting weight so he can fight Eddie Hall in boxing?
Are you special? Eddie Hall wouldn't stand a chance against me, that fucking English cunt. I know.
I actually think, right, Eddie seems like a real one.
Yeah, man. Eddie's a skin.
Yeah.
Eddie's sound. I would love to go and have a beer in a line with him.
I'd love that we could get him over to do some stuff at the series.
Yeah, man. Him back in 2015, 2016, his static strength. If you could have got him, 2016 Eddie, to do a powerlifting meet, and he could reach the bar with you know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody to touch that total.
I don't. But the thing is, just with the way he is now, he doesn't even necessarily need to come as an athlete. He could have him do a few token deadlifts or something.
Oh yeah.
But like, I mean, even as like I say, give him my job for a meet. Like,
yeah, he'd be a bit of crack. Like,
yeah, he'd be funny.
Yeah,
I mean?
I'd love to see him on this as well.
Man, any old time. The thing is,
any old time. I'm sure.
You know what the fucking hard thing is about this, right? Honestly, and I say that I've had this question. I'm like, oh, you should get this person, motherfucker. Like, especially when it comes to, let's say, the athletes coming in for meets, like
they have one thing on mind.
Yes, you know what I mean.
It.
And like, feel right now, like how warm it is in the studio.
Cooking.
Imagine I have someone come in here. They're like 48 hours out from one of the biggest meets of their life, and I'm toasting them in this fucking podcast studio. Their brains already depleted, and a lot of them fly home right after. So you know what I mean? You're trying to work around my schedule, Dan's schedule here in the studio, and then the lifter and when they're going to be free. And sometimes before the meet, they don't want to do it, and sometimes after the meet, they just want to go home. Now, sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah,
I am trying to work on a few things for the pro.
I think Delroy would be very obliging if you could get him onto.
Of course. But the thing is like, I'd also love to get like Brianni on if I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Joe Sullivan, who'll be over as well.
Joe Sullivan? Who's that?
You get what I'm saying?
I know, yeah.
Like, there just isn't enough hours in the day
there's
to
not.
get all these people on.
And I mean, that's something that you, like, every time you put up the anonymous link or whatever, when will you get this person? When will you get that person? I'm like, that person's boring. Why would you get them? I mean, some of the people I've seen being asked to get up on this, I'm like, why would anybody want to hear them?
Do you know, actually, I think
I'm joking, this cunt.
who would be very, very good, and from abs, is Emma McDermott, who's like obviously like being one of the top level lifters in the Irish PF for years.
I have to pretend to smile and say yeah.
No, but genuinely, because Emma's somebody that shows like, you know, staying power, work ethic.
Emma is a fucking animal.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, though, is that like she's been through all these different eras of abs and different eras of the Irish PF and international competition. She's been a referee. She's coached. She's obviously lifted to an incredibly high level. I would love to get her thought. And she's someone I've invited on multiple times, but Emma's an extremely busy person. So every time we put up, she was like, can you get more girls on? Can you get Emma McDermott? I was, bitches, I'm trying. I'm trying.
And what I will say about and she, I mean, look, we've had our differences in the past, she and I genuinely think she struggled to expose herself in that sort of in this sort of manner, and that's not a knock on her. Far from it. She's a lovely girl in many ways, but I think it would make her feel uncomfortable to be that exposed. You know, that's the way.
Fair, yeah. Well, as long as she knows there's an open invitation.
Yeah, and I think she'd be a great podcast. You know what I mean? I think she'd be a great. What's the word? Guest. That's the word. I knew that. I was testing it. I think she'd be a great guest, and I don't think she's anything to be nervous about if she is. But genuinely, I think that's what her biggest struggle would be. Because
here's a question then for you on that. Before I get to the final question on the anonymous, if you were to say you wanted to see me have someone on here, who would it be?
Dan. Actually, what's his name? Fucking Cornelius, the old IPF lifter. Oh, I can't think of his name. Hold on. See if I can find him.
And then on the same vein, same style of question.
Yeah.
Right? But who would you like to come on with?
Who would I?
So if I was to do like the way I've had yourself and Eamon on before, who would you like to sit opposite and have a chat with?
Oh, man, that's a fucking... Dennis Cornelius is who I meant. He's a, like, I mean, he's been through the dog. The Vanilla Gorilla, the Great White Juggernaut. Or not, no, the Vanilla Gorilla, what's his name? Blaine Sumner.
Yeah.
I'd love to come and chat with him. That dude is, I mean, before he sort of got fucked with his back, he was squatting 1,000 pounds daily or weekly, benching 1,000 pounds weekly, pulling 800 pounds weekly. I mean, I don't know how he hurt his back.
But telling.
I don't know if you've ever watched some of his lifting or anything like that.
No.
Like all solo in his garage. This dude was single ply equipment. He's one of the most tested lifters in IPF history, as far as I'm aware. And I think he hated the IPF and how they tried to force things on him. So that's why he'd wear his bandana. He'd chalk his eyes underneath his eyes. They wouldn't let him put black paint on his face. Like, you know, the
yeah.
So he used chalk and he done it, and he used to dab at, he squat 505 and he walked out and dabbed. Man, like he's just sick. He's just fucking cool. And I reckon he'd be like Dan Bell, just a real one, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd love to have a bit of banter with him.
That'd be sick, yeah. All right, so final question from the anonymous side is, and it's actually quite tame, Abs Pro predictions top 3.
Abs Pro predictions top 3. Jake Brennan, and Jake Brennan. Nah, fuck that. Dave, it's going to be a toss-up between Fernando and the Mexican. It really is. It just is, because I don't know if Luke misses on one lift, and the same could be said for Fernando. Actually, the same could be said for Dave, because they're none of them like.
It could be either.
Yeah,
that mix. Yeah.
None of them like to miss a lift, and I have seen them all be crestfallen when they do. So I think Dave's got the win, but I think between Dan and Fernando, Luke and Fernando, I think it's a toss up, and if either one of them misses a squat, it's then gonna have them crestfallen, and I think could take the win from themselves.
All right.
You know, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Never
Could actually be Jake Brennan.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Well, look, on that fine word, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for coming on again.
Thank you very much.
Good man.
Cheers, bro.